All right, greens, everyone. Welcome in, welcome in. It is day 89 of my 90-day challenge. I am almost done here. Going into this challenge at the start of the year, obviously, especially it being New Year's January 1st or January 6th when I officially started. Obviously, um, knowing what I did on the first challenge, you know, I was definitely unsure if I was going to complete 90 days, right? Especially when I was finishing only 60 the last chance. But obviously, I knew I was able to keep keep some of the results or some of the gains that I made on the first channel, especially taking 4 months off or 4 months between both first and second challenge. I was able to once again release eight out of the let's see, so 24, 2000, right? Then went back up 13. Yeah, I was able to, reduce some of the weight that I had on me. So heading into the challenge, knowing what I already knew and what to expect, right? And also being able to um, have um, change of habits, right? So um, just going with another challenge again, and things that I need to work on as well, right? I definitely had that confidence and belief that um, I'm able to chip away a little bit more, right? And that's all we can do is just you know it all depends once again if this is our main focus to the point where you know you either treat it as a hobby, you either treat it as um, your passion, right? Or you even you know really dig in deep into these 90 days and make this a complete obsession that you, there is no fail, right? It's either I commit to this or I don't, right? So those are the three levels of motivation for you, right? And all three are different, and it all depends on your internal thermostat, what you believe, your identity, right? Think of your thermostat as your identity, right? So we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, definitely very important that for myself that you have one or two things that you really want to focus on, right? And through that that focus, you know just that kaizen approach, right? Just being able to just change a few things um, is going to help you for sure. uh, Chip away and just come to the point where things are no longer needed, and just move on to the next thing, right? So yeah, definitely for myself, heading into this challenge was reducing the carbs, reducing let's say for myself, reducing rice, reducing instant noodles, and from the first challenge, um, keeping away from dairy and milk products. What else was there that especially the reduction of coffee as well, or caffeine. And also a choice of mine was reducing eggs as well, right? And especially not cooking it to the point where it isn't it's definitely giving me some allergies, right? So yeah, probably going into this upcoming challenge and this seasonal challenge, or Q2. I definitely want to now introduce exercise into it. And another thing, what was that? Yeah, just continuing into that, and definitely important for me to just not overwhelm myself with so many things, so many distractions that may lead in a way that you know that I have to do too much, and if I fail, then obviously one thing, then it will sabotage me to completely not doing everything all together, right? So it's great to just focus on a few things and work on them, master them, make it part of your habit and well-being, right? And just continue to once again move forward. So definitely I had a wonderful listen through to a podcast. One that I follow is Ed Milet, and definitely he has created a nice thing of when it comes to thermostat, which is your identity. And as much as we want to focus on environment, right, and who you surround yourself, who you're associated with, right, it's one point of you being able to increase your capacity, increase who you are, right? Raise your resonance, raise your level, raise your vibration. Because imagine once again, if you want to, let's say, heat up a room, right? Obviously, your thermostat will look at heating up a room as gaining success, right? Gaining a success, or meeting successful people, right? Right. So obviously, when that happens, and that's this is where the thermostat kicks in. So sure, you're in that environment, right? And you feel successful, but at the same time, and we're gaining skills, we're getting experience, right? But at the same time, our thermostat kicks in. Our thermostat kicks in and reminds us of our past, or who we are, right? And it regulates that. It brings that back to you know where we feel we are, where we feel we're comfortable, right? And that's the thing as well. The importance of increasing your capacity, setting up your core values, setting up what fuels you to help you just break through that pattern, break through that mold that your mind, your body has placed on you. And once again, this is years upon years, decades even, right, of development, right? Habits that's been created, and habits that have kept you in place, kept your thermostat regulated to whether it's safety and fear of the unknown, right? So I just I have this real conversation with you guys today about why some people feel like they're running in places, right? And then let's do the flip side. heading into, uh, in the winter and it's cold, right? And say the windows open, right? And it's to represent the cold where, you're going through a challenge, a struggling moment, a moment of, maybe, you don't have enough for rent, you don't have enough for food, right? And it's very, it's a challenging situation, right? And you just say that, probably you just lost your job, and obviously it's a challenging part where you try to find a way to just, make ends meet, right? And I think it's cold, and then obviously, your thermostat kicks in again, and it's a point where you realize that you have skills, you know how to work, right? Just gotta get through this moment, and apply for jobs, or do certain things to improve, and your thermostat kicks in, and you got, it's, once again, it's a survival moment, right? So once again, you've definitely, say, experienced hunger, right? But uh, especially who you associate yourself with, you get that help, and you're not hungry again, right? Or you know for the time being, right? So, but if you want to operate in a way of growth, success, progression, obviously, you need to work on that internal thermostat, the internal temperature, right? And being part of that environment is gonna help you in, work towards that, right? Chip away to that 1%. Mini habits will start building up and raise your core temperature in a way that's going to help you succeed. So once again, it's very important to who you, as they always say, who you associate yourself with. So if you have 5 people that you hang out with, and they share the same feelings as you in a way where you want to go in life, then awesome, that's great. But if you are associated with people who are okay with the current situation, don't see themselves in any form of making it big, and they just settled. So obviously, for you being associated with that, safe to say you're gonna settle as well, right? Because this is the norm. This is, as of now, safe, right? No crazy expectations and whatnot. So it's safe. We'll just say it's safe, and we play it safe, and we get safe results, right? But if we're not, if we continue to still not be happy about it, then obviously it's going to be quite a challenge to get the results we want if we're not doing things that are raising our vibrations, raising our own thermostat. So once again, think of your life like a room with a thermostat. The thermostat is your self-worth. It's set to a specific temperature, let's say 75 degrees. That 75 degrees is what you subconsciously believe you deserve, right? And once again, I've definitely been through those situations where this is the limit of my education. This is the limit of my experience. This is the limit of my my net worth, right, or network, right? So how can I feel like I deserve to be around this people, around this environment? And once again, that is once again that becomes self sabotage. You are there, right, and you are hanging out with these people, right? You may not operate at that highest temperature at the moment, right? But you are increasing your temperature, and now it's just a time of your commitment towards it, and your willingness to learn, to implement, to thrive in that environment, right? That is, that, once again, that is, totally up to you to make that part of your belief, right? Now, here's what happens. You have a great, let's give an example. You have a great week. You land a new client. Um, you hit a personal best in the gym, right? These are, the external weather. Uh, you know, say hits 90 degrees, right? But because your internal temperature is set at 75, you're wasn't this is our brain in panic mode, right? So um, it starts panicking, right? So right, they're not used to this, right? It says that this isn't who we are, and then now it kicks in the AC, right? So you start either uh, procrastinating, you skip the gym, you self sabotage just to get back to the comfortable level of 75 degrees, right? You want to head to the gyms, and you see these guys working out, and you don't know how to use the machine, and it just feels embarrassing, and you find ways to self sabotage, right? And you start believing that you don't belong in these environments. So once again, you want to get comfortable, right, and do things, right? But the opposite is also true. When life gets cold, when you're broke or struggling, right, as we said earlier, those internal heaters kick in. You work like crazy to get back to 75. And once again, you know, our main evolution is survival, right? So it's gonna find a way, and we're great at surviving, right? That's what we've tried as a species to survive through through many situations. And once again, that survival comes with our environment, which is once again our association. We're not battling this alone. We're battling this as a hive. We're battling this as a village. You know, we're battling this as a clan. So, but at the same time, you aren't thriving because you haven't changed. Or what we would like to say, the settings here, right? So if you want a 100-degree life, and as one of my followers have asked, if will they win the lotto? Right? That's the thing. We're treating life as it's nothing wrong in doing that, right? But at the same time, we still have to continue to work on our thing, right? If the lotto comes in, it's bonus, but you don't have to worry about things running out, as you know it's you gain the experience, you gain the knowledge, you created the disciplines, the habits needed to keep going, to succeed, right? So definitely, once again, if you want 100-degree life, you can't just open the windows when it's sunny, right? You have to walk over to the wall and crank up that thermostat up. You do that by, once again, aligning with your core values. That's why it's really important to have those core values, because we're gonna have so many things that's gonna pull us in so many directions. If you don't have a way to filter through that and have your get continue to be reminded of what your core values are, right? Then obviously, any shiny, you fall into the shiny object syndrome or the FOMO mentality. And yeah, once again, through that, you know we're kind of wasting our most valuable resource, which is our time, our attention, right? So you gotta align yourself with your core values, and most importantly, by um, changing who you hang out with, who you're associate with, right? So you guys can see um, your core values, where you want to be, and you gotta also, not saying that you gotta stop hanging out with your friends or families or colleagues, that right, but at the same time you need to find those who align with your beliefs, or where you want to go. You don't have to invest in the Tony Robbins, or people who are up there. You just need to find those groups, like meetup groups, and you just need to find those who are just 1 to 2 levels ahead of you, and just get that those processes in, right? If you're a 75-degree person in a room full of 120 degrees peoples, you're going to feel cold until you grow to match them, right? It's putting yourself in the environment, and once again realize that you're gonna feel these ways, these feelings are gonna happen. You climb the mountain, and you feel like giving up, and if you weren't told that these moments are gonna happen, that's when you're almost there, right? So once again, stop trying to change the weather. Just start changing the settings within you. So once again, who's ready to turn up your thermostat, turn up the heat, right? So hopefully this has been helpful, and myself here, to all of us who um, use social media or stream. Obviously, we were at the beginning, just learning new things, right? And who's there to help us, whether jumping in another streamer, another content creator, and learning the ropes, right? We're putting ourselves in those environments, those leveraging those people who are just 1 to 2 levels ahead of us, not comparing ourselves to Mr. Beast, right? We gotta do what Mr. Beast does. That's the way to succeed, right? And once again, we're putting ourselves at a huge risk, that without a solid foundation of um, to sustain that growth. So definitely, once again, it's really important to realize who we associate ourselves with and find those environments that align with where we need to go. Align, at least, align with our core values. Align where we need to go next. And through that association, you know, you can't help just move forward. You can't help by raising your thermostat, raising your you know raising your temperature, and uh, just become that person that you're meant to be, right? So hopefully this has been helpful. uh, Feel free to give this video the thumbs up or a like. This is also, once again, being streamed on 3 different platforms: YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So feel free to hit those notification buttons when I go live again. Once again, you can scan this QR code up here to stay in a loop, stay updated. And once again, through that, you can also head over to coachryanj.com to get the info. So thank you so much, as always. And as Ed Milet says, it's very important to raise your environment, right? Raise your environment so that, once again, in that environment, you can raise yourself. And as you're raising yourself, you're working towards becoming who you were meant to be. And once you are who you're meant to be, then you can once again return and be the impact in your own environment, your friends, your family, your colleagues, your very own community. Because once again, we've been there, and there are people who are just starting their journey. There's people who are going through through the cold or going through the struggles. So it can just be a simple act of kindness that can go a long way in making a difference for someone. And through that, just a simple inspiration and someone turning their life around, they can they'll remember you, and they'll definitely will thank you. And once again, that is a way to pay it forward, and just things may return tenfold. All right, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I wish you all a wonderful long weekend. And once again, this is day 89 for myself. So tomorrow is my last day of my Q1 90-day challenge. It's been great. It's been wonderful. We lost up to 15 pounds here, and like I said, it's gonna fluctuate. It's gonna go up. It's gonna go down. But at the same time, you're building a baseline, and then you're building. That's the new baseline heading into the next challenge, which is going to be happening on Monday. So we're going to be starting the next 90-day challenge, April, May, June. Definitely, once again, focusing for myself, and then we're pivoting this challenge as well towards helping people to start that side hustle of just a little cash can go a long way, right? So definitely, stay tuned for that as we go start that on our next 90-day challenge. Thank you so much. I wish you all a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will catch each other again on the next stream. Take good care.